Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of TA Tech Unboxed, the podcast that's chatting to the people behind the tools that we use in the TA and HR community every day. If you are listening to this, then please don't forget to head over to YouTube where you'll be able to watch a demo of this guest and every other guest we've had on the show so far. My name is Chris Haslam, and I'm here with Mr. Darren Bush. How the devil are you, sir?
Good, Chris. Good. You're, I know we're shooting at the moment in a public place, so Chris is whispering at the moment. So if you're just checking your audio,
I'm just in an office.
He asked me to do the intro, and I said no.
Yeah, he put me in the S, didn't you? We are. I'm going to the AI in recruiting talk tonight, part of the TTC community with Ahmed and Sahil from MetaView, and so I unfortunately couldn't time it so that I could get somewhere quiet and get the interview. And you know, at TA Tech Unboxed, we don't cancel shows.
We really try not to.
We try not to.
We may have one or two.
So hopefully this is coming through okay and everyone can hear me fine. But we're here. We're going to do it. Yeah.
How's your week been?
It's been good, man. Busy. I feel like the market's changing a little bit. I feel tired of new like conversations starting, which we haven't seen for a long time now. So super happy about that. I don't know if it's total, flip, but it's definitely like people are more open to chatting about career again, which is wonderful. Compared to not chatting to anyone about nothing. So I'll take that.
Just chatting to me, but
how about
last year.
Well, I mean, 2 podcasts a week seems to be my professional career now, podcasting with you. How has your week been?
Yeah, it's been all right. It's been good actually. Lots of things going on at the moment, which is exciting. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I can't really share too much, but it's good.
Yes. Secret squirrel. Darren Bush, secret squirrel. That's perfect.
That's exactly what you want from a podcast as well.
Exactly. Can't say anything.
Can't say anything. Nope.
Okay. Well, so why don't we introduce this week's guest? So, Darren, who do we have on today's show?
So today, Chris, we got Jack Evans, Business Development Director for JobDeck. Welcome to the show, Jack.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on here. And for those, obviously, who haven't come across Jack Evans before, would you like to give us a little brief intro?
For those who haven't been following my career with interest, you mean? So I have spent 10 years plus working in everything related to talent, essentially. So that's exec search, talent consultancy, talent insights, and recruitment, basically. Started out helping VCs build and scale their portfolio companies. So they were doing investment. They would then put us in to help their management team grow their business, essentially. And then through my career, just spent all of it in talent up until this year, where I joined JobDeck, where I'm now on the supplier side, helping TA teams kind of scale effectively.
Should we talk about, we'll quickly go to JobDeck and then we'll come back to you again, Jack. So I always like to get out because people want to go, Jack Evans, kind of know, maybe. JobDeck, quite new.
Yeah, sure. So JobDeck is a startup business focused on helping TA teams become more effective. Essentially what we do is we automate the top of the funnel. So we are focused on mainly two things for now, attraction of candidates and then the qualification. And we do that so we can help kind of TA teams be more effective across the recruitment process via automation. And all of that leads to a better candidate experience as well. So we're a kind of AI-driven talent acquisition platform designed for attracting people and qualifying.
It sounds interesting as well. We've got a demo. If anyone knows who's listening or watching, just go to TA Tech Unboxed there, watch the look at the demos there. And
that was useful actually. I like the whole. I like the do it in 5 minutes. It's good. It's good practice. It's good to do this demo.
Director.
For sure.
Right, she did a good job. Done a good job as well. And like we find that they're difficult, right? They're quite difficult. Some people have got super complex solutions to push out. Really, what we've liked about, and particularly about yours, is like super punchy, covers some good top lines. Thank you so much for that. So if you are listening, make sure to go check it out. We will link in the description. I don't know if that's here or here or here. I have no idea. But,
whatever you do, it makes it harder because it's normally me who's having to do the linking.
You just follow
And
my
for
hands.
that, yeah, I think it should follow. When you go to that bit, it should be at the bottom first, and then when he goes sideways, you put it sideways, and then at the top.
Just give me
Is
more
that easy
work.
to do, or?
So, Jack, we like to know who we're buying from. That's one of our like core values of Tier Tech Unbox. So, like, I know you gave us a little overview there, but do you want to like walk us through some of the challenges that brought you maybe into JobDeck, and like what made you join the team there? What is your role in the team as well? It'd be good to know a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So, like I mentioned, when I was in my last business was a recruitment business in Leeds, amazing one, super high growth in some really interesting markets across like industrial stuff like flying taxis and renewable energy. So it's super interesting. And me and my colleague had an idea essentially that was, how do we, so, your Facebooks, your Googles, but now we've learned any business of any size could get up to, 10,000 applicants in 24 hours or whatever. So that causes two issues. One of which is you either have a person sifting through thousands of CVs, or the unlucky bunch of CVs, just don't even get looked at essentially. So we were thinking, well, how do we automate this? Gave it a search and we're like, I don't think this exists. Anyway, it did exist, and it existed one street over from where we were currently. So just that competitor analysis already out the window. But spoke to the guys at JobDeck, and what they were doing was a startup themselves. What they wanted to do was find a better way to attract the passive candidates, of which is 95% of the market, and then find a way to help high volume TA teams essentially provide a better candidate experience by either not ignoring CVs or not spending 24 hours doing it, essentially. So had a conversation with them, and our visions aligned. So me and a colleague came across here, and my responsibility is basically growing the business from a commercial perspective. So speaking to customers and just relentlessly testing it with them. So we build customer first. So just speaking to TA teams, speaking to recruiters all day. What does it need to look like? What would help you? Does this help, etc.? But my responsibility is essentially commercial growth of JobDeck. And my colleague that came across with me, he's managing the customer side.
What are you hearing as the core challenges from high volume TA teams at the moment?
Interestingly, so the customers we have, so one customer we have, it's a 4,500 person business. There are 6 people in the TA team. Each of them are working 16 roles, and for each role, they get like 300-400 applicants. So it works out, anyway, I did the maths, but it works out like 20,000 applicants in every 4-week stint. So they've just got people that are just doing that, just literally going through CVs. And one of the problems is that they got budget from the CEO. They didn't get budget from a CEO for more people, but the CEO went to a conference, an AI conference, came back and went, oh, cool, there's a blank check for AI. So what we're finding across our customers is the high volume stuff, is the filtering is a problem, but also just, I would class that as perception as well. We've got no budget for more hires in TA, but we do have a budget for systems. And I think up until very recently, from my experience, it was always the reverse of that. You need a new system. No, there's no money for that. Just hire someone. And I think that's flipping now. So to answer your question, what is the kind of pain point and problem high volume hiring? I think it's attracting a better quality of candidate, and those that aren't necessarily looking, but also when they come in, how do we filter them in a way that doesn't take me 24 hours to go through them?
Like it. So you're giving us giving our heads of TA some good advice here. That you're just slipping the word AI as well into their budget as their conversations on the proposal. Strong chance that they might actually get up approved by CEO. I'd say that there is a shift. There is a shift in that for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And it was always, it's simpler before, where it was just like, when you're at a certain capacity of any like P&L, when you're at a certain capacity, bring in a person to go and do that thing, right? Hire someone. But now it's the case of actually you're at a capacity. Could that be done by a system? I think it's just the hype cycle, isn't it, that we're in at the moment?
Yeah. It's kind of leveraging the resources we have available.
Yeah,
I agree, and I think it's important. I think it's an important exercise for a lot of TA teams, I think, at the moment, to get better at this, because I think we've over-indexed on hands, right? Hands over having a process or a system or a tool that can help get more out the other end. We've seen a lot of hyperinflated TA teams, just like we saw hyperinflated sales teams, right? Because we were trying to all cover more ground, but the reality is the absence of tools, systems, process. I don't know if any of those are the same thing, but the lack of them sometimes is like really surprises me. I hear like a lot of TA leaders say, we've got a top of funnel problem. We go, cool, what tools are you using for sourcing? They're like, nothing, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Fascinating. I find it absolutely fascinating. So what do you want? I just want more people to do more of the same stuff that isn't already working.
Yeah, and then if you think about those people as well, so imagine you went out with a job description or job advert that says what we are looking for to hire is someone who can sift through 19,000 CVs. It's like, firstly, how do you attract that person? But then how do you give them a career where it's like, what's the next promotion for that person? But I think we saw it with like everything that happened last year, Klarna and Facebook and whatever, where it just seems like with sales and TA teams, it's impossible to forecast. So it's like right now things are going really well, hire 5 more TA teams, and it seems like there isn't the foresight to go, what if it doesn't go well next year? Oh, we'll think about that next year. And actually this is people's lives. Whereas with a system, you're like, can this system do the work of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people? Can it do it for less the cost?
It's the CEO and the business development director of the system. But they neither do with you. Neither do with you, so you don't have to feel emotional about it. But I agree. I agree. It's a great way to like mitigate and create longevity in your team, isn't it? By making sure you have that super robust process.
And I think that people shouldn't, on the other side, people shouldn't just go, cool, AI, let's go and get loads. Can I have 3 AIs, please? Like, you shouldn't just go out and do that. You should fully analyze, like you would with a hire. You should fully analyze what bits of our process need work, or what bits of our process could be automated to free up other stuff, and then do that assessment and kind of do that analysis so you can go, that is the weak link, or that is the place where it perfectly slot. Don't just go, I think we need some AI, and then give it a Google, first system that comes up. Cool, I'll take that. And that might work for us one day when someone Googles and we're the first that comes up, but actually you should do an analysis before you just go out and get something.
And you procure anything.
Yeah. What makes your AI then unique compared to others?
Yeah, so our AI, there's 2. The secret sauce essentially is the marketing material, one of which. So,
do you want to explain that to me? Because people haven't seen the demo. I would recommend it. Go and jump and have a look.
Yeah, so we are the first business that can turn a job into using an example, a TikTok, for example. We are the first business that can turn your job, all bespoke, all branded up to you and what good looks like, to an Instagram post, a job prospectus that is better than just a job description. Now, the purpose of that is attracting, but also if you think about the next generation, Gen Z, is it 18 to 25-year-olds? So they do everything via TikTok. If they want to buy something, they'll go on TikTok and look at reviews. If they're looking for jobs, they'll look on TikTok. Now, what are people missing? People are missing getting their jobs in front of the billion people that are on TikTok. So we're the first business that can turn your job specifically into that, and it's interactive as well. So click on a link in TikTok and you've applied, you're in the system and you filtered. So that's the first bit. And the second bit is we have a full-time person working on the scoring and assessment, because what we don't want this to be is we want to automate 90% of it. The 10% is still the human aspects that you need, which is like calling people, building relationships. So what we need to do is go, these people are suitable on this criteria. have a look at these. So we are working on the scoring because we know that's where it needs to be accurate. So the two things, USP, scoring and the marketing material.
Find the mute button. Go find the mute button. We actually haven't significantly unpacked JobDeck yet, right? So why don't you like,
let's do it.
And Darren, I'm going to steal your question. It'd also be great, Jack, if you could answer, where does it start and where does it end?
Okay. You mean JobDeck, not life, like philosophically. JobDeck, right? Okay.
Okay. First it will be the JobDeck, then we can talk about life.
Yeah.
We only have 15 minutes left.
So in terms of the platform, and as a startup, we've gone through this kind of, we've already passed the kind of identity crisis in terms of what are we and who are we for. So when we first started this, it was a case of we are everything to everyone. And then we refined, and now we know who we're good for. So where does it start? It essentially starts, are you talking about a walkthrough, just to be clear, just so I make sure I'm understanding? Yeah. So where does JobDeck start?
However you interpret the question.
So it is philosophical. Nice. So JobDeck starts when someone wants a system that is smarter than their current database, current ATS, and they need a way to attract people. They need high volume recruiters that need a way to attract people and filter people. Where the system actually starts is as we look to automate more and more of the kind of recruitment process, it starts with adding a job. You add a job, you put in a criteria of what good looks like to you. During onboarding, we define what good looks like to your organization. So it's not just a case of keyword matching on a job description. It's a case of what looks good specific to this company or specific to this company for the assessment later on. The system creates a job description for you. Again, a laborious task that nobody likes doing, but does quite often. So it generates a job description for you. It then turns that job description into marketing material that can be shared in a couple of clicks across socials, across job boards, YouTube, wherever you want. Now, this is all interactive. So let's say that this marketing material has attracted hundreds or thousands of applicants. What will happen is they will come in and they will be assessed. They will be assessed against the criteria we put on the job description. They will also be assessed against the criteria that we've worked out what good looks like for your business. And then people come into kind of like a long list, and you can just filter through. All the summaries are written automatically. You can write in your notes that our system will clear up for you, so you can do shorthand. And then finally, like the third step of this, if you like, is a digital shortlist. So we've removed the need for 10 CVs on an attachment that a hiring manager will never find. They will just get notified. You need to look at this. They will get a link. They will be able to review the candidates you put across. And there you go. Finally, there's a candidate portal as well. So during this time, what we think often happens during this process is candidates aren't updated on what's going on. They don't know the next stage. They don't know who they're talking to in the business, especially if they've come by a recruiter, but they basically don't know what's going on. So they're invited to a candidate portal, which essentially shows you are at one of 3 stages. Here are the hiring managers. Here's what's coming next. Here's some sentiment analysis based on what's the news saying about this company, et cetera, et cetera. So they have a clear and transparent, here's where I am in the process, basically. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the platform, but kind of start to end automating top of the funnel. That makes sense.
I keep losing the mute button. Wow. A lot. Like it sounds super similar to like an applicant tracking system. Like what's the differentiator between the two, and how do you like mold every TA team as a
so that's the pain we went through when we started, because what we have now is any system enters this space, it's very much you're an ATS, right? And it's like, well, no, but if you bolt us onto your ATS becomes amazing. So we had that kind of identity thing of where do we play here? How do we fit against an ATS? You could absolutely use JobDeck as an ATS, and we have something around the corner that will make this the best ATS on the market. But you could use it as an ATS. It has a candidate database.
You all bloody say that.
Jack and I have spoken, and he'll reveal, actually, if you listen, he'll reveal the end what he's going to talk about. Not the final situation, but he'll reveal a little more details. Yeah.
So how do we compare to an ATS? You could use as an ATS, but right now we're not mass market that because there are so many things that people need as part of an ATS. You know, we need this specific thing, or we need timesheets, we need this, we need that. And what we realized was every person we spoke to needed something different from an ATS. So right now we automate the top of the funnel.
Got it, yeah.
Often the largest pain, right? So
yeah,
and definitely our target market. I think it's as we've learned this ourselves. We didn't know this day one, truthfully, and it's like everything you learn about a startup is narrow down. ICP, narrow down. Well, it's taken us a while to do this, but we've narrowed down, and we know we fix a problem. Top of the funnel for high volume recruiters, high volume hiring. So it took us a while to get there, but we're there.
How do you define high volume? How do you define high volume?
Yeah, so that is down to our customer, really. But so, for example, if you are recruiting a CEO that you might have 5 people in your network for, you'll call 3 of them, you'll shortlist 2 of them. The system works for you because it can automate your documentation. It can, shortlist them digitally, but actually we provide less value to those people than we do, someone who would put an advert up for, let's say, a battery engineer in California, gets 1,000 applicants. So high volume is anything below exec, I'd probably say.
Where you're getting high volume in terms of volume of roles or volume of applicants?
Volume of applicants, but either. Either. Like I said, that company example, they were working on 16 roles. So they were working on like something crazy, like 60 something roles between them, and they were just getting 90,000 applicants. That's the perfect problem for us to help.
Yeah. I have a question because you obviously you've got matching score, and a lot of the tools now have got matching tools as well for the client. Do you think we'll ever get into the situation where you, JobDeck, or your other competitors will actually share that percentage, that match score, when a person is about to apply? So the job advert's there, and then you've got there's certain tools. I know that you can do that anyway outside the system, but do you think you'll ever get to? Do you see the market ever moving to a place where, as a candidate, I go look at a job, look at a battery engineer role, I put my CV up, and it goes, "What's your matching score?" And it goes, "You've got 40% chance." Do you think that will ever? Do you think we'll move into that area with AI, kind of like just doing that, and by doing so, I can see massive benefits, and I just won't bother applying, especially if I got such a low score, so I won't get so many CVs. But from a downside is, are people just relying on the AI score? But isn't that where we're going?
And then the concern so we show candidates, here is your score, here is
nice.
Basically we show them. The next plan for us is, okay, cool, what do I do with that information? If I've just scored 40 out of something, there's only 2 things you can do at the moment. You can either apply and go, maybe it's wrong, or you can go, right, I'll rescind my application. What we're doing next is giving them career advice based on that. So, for example, you're a sales exec that's just applied for a sales director role. You've scored 50 out of 100. We know why you've scored 50 out of 100, and therefore we can provide guidance. So the next bridging the gap is not showing them the score, but then saying, we suggest doing this, or, you need a couple more years experience, but in this market, or, there's courses here, or find a mentor, whatever it may be. So we want to give back to the candidate in that instance. But we show them now. It's just about, we're working on providing extra value to them, basically.
Do you think the market will move in that direction? Because I think maybe you're one of very few companies, a handful of companies that do that. Do you see the market moving in that direction globally?
I think what companies focus at the moment isn't, unfortunately, on the candidate until they get to offer, and then they're like, "Oh, it's all about you, right?" But I think so. Therefore, it's like, well, it doesn't matter to us if 20,000, if a few hundred people apply, and we don't get back to them, it's all right. We're unlikely to need them again, or whatever. But actually, those 200 people leave and go have a bad experience with the company, or just so they don't apply again, or like our CEO says, they become a consumer. They stop becoming a consumer. So bad example because it's incredibly addictive. But let's say, for example, you're a terrible hiring experience with Coca-Cola. You might go, never buying that again, actually. Now, Coca-Cola might be a bad example because of how addictive it is. But so if you're at other business,
Pepsi all the way.
Yeah, there you go. Were you in a bad hiring experience with Coca-Cola? You might go, I'm never going to shop there again, or I'm going to leave a bad review or whatever. So I think it's unlikely to go that way very quickly because people think it's a consumer play and they just don't see the value in that. So like, we wouldn't ask for money for them, like for the moment. If they're in a process with us, we would just say, there's your advice. But I don't think it's going to go that way from many people.
Yeah. Cool. You also mentioned recruitment should be viewed as a sort of marketing job, purely focused on attracting talent. Can you expand on that mindset?
Yeah. So if you think about a company that you like or a company that you don't like, that image comes to your head immediately. And it's the same with jobs or applying for roles or whatever it is. I think traditionally recruiters and TA teams have been bad at trying to attract people. You'll see it. You'll see the LinkedIn post, which is like hiring for a great sales director or someone, drop me a DM. And that's the quality of job adverts at the moment. Who is that attracting really? Now, if you had a great quality marketing with great quality content, your funnel just opens. Not does it open to more people, but also the type of person that would apply to your role. And for recruiters, not TA teams, but for recruiters, they can just say, here's how I'm representing your brand. Here's how I'm going to attract candidates. So I think more and more it's becoming about that, especially because candidates have more choice these days. You'll still need to actively search always, but I think the better your job marketing, the easier it is for you to attract candidates.
I'm with you on this. I was literally talking to Matthew Parker today. We were talking about how many talent teams have expertise outside of, sending an email, right? How many talent teams do you know? I mean, Darren, you've got a big one, right? You have copywriters and marketers, and you have an employee branding team, right?
We do, yeah, but we don't have copywriters now.
Right. So how many talent teams do we know that have copywriters that help them write outreach messaging, like sales teams do? How much research goes in that marketing funnel to like really understand the persona, or like how do your software engineers talk? Where are they? What are they doing? It's like all led by somebody who's. If you listen to this and a TA leader, we don't mean unqualified, but we are marketers. We aren't qualified to like really break down the talent pool and get deep into persona analytics, like a sales team or a marketing team would. So I'm fascinated by this subject because I do believe it's like sourcing talent attraction is the most common thing that I hear as a pain point. But yeah, everyone is, it's only tools focused, right? There's no like system and process focus to fixing that issue.
And I think when I was one of my first roles in exec search, when I was working with VCs, what we used to have, it's like for LinkedIn emails, for example, if we had a 31% reply rate, we would dig down and go, who can get to 35? Is there like a word that you're tweaking? Is there like a better call to action? And we had that. Whereas like there are other places that just go, if I've got 30% response rate, I'll send 3 times more. And it's like, if people should be able to like teach you those skills of just, you get a couple 1% or 2%. And that's why TA functions might come in underneath the direct hiring managers. And then in that team, you might have, let's say, a sales director, but then under that person, you might have a TA person specifically for their team. And then you might have a copywriter specifically for their team that understands a persona because they've hired them their entire career, that works with a TA person who's in the same team, who goes, that's what it is. So more team collaboration rather than a sales director goes, there's a job description, get me one of those. It's like, I'll just assume what a good salesperson looks like. It's like you've been in the role you're recruiting for, help me, how would I attract you? But instead that seems quite uncommon. I don't know, is that uncommon or?
Nah. I mean,
it's an exercise that we do here for our intake, but of course I'd say that it is part of it. Like for me, the incumbents in the roles already have most of the information that we need to write great copy, right, or to market out.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. It's like we don't again, it's the action. That's what a marketing team would do with customers, right? How many employer branding teams or copywriters in those employer branding teams that are on it for it turn up to software engineering events?
It's a great point.
Interview some software engineers, like they're writing copy from an informed position just because they think they know. And I find that argument super fascinating. Not where I was expecting this podcast to go, if I'm dead honest with you. But I do find it really interesting that it's a weak spot, a blind spot for the kind of HR org, I think, when it comes to this particular.
You can then be a better trusted advisor to the candidate you're speaking to, and guide them through an offer or guide them about what good looks like because you understand them incredibly deeply, rather than just go, look, you're one of the 30% that replied to me. Yesterday I was researching a software engineer. Now you're a sales exec because I'm working on this role, and I know equally little about either, basically. So I think everyone benefits from having that distinct expertise or more expertise outside of your day job, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Do we might be running out of time. I've got one more question that we got to ask the final two, Chris. Is that okay? Or do you want to get to the first two? Do you want to get to the final two now?
You go, man. You go. You had another question.
So I think we want to kind of keep the human element here. Despite the AI automation, what other, would you say, human skills do you need to remain essential for recruiters moving forward? Because AI won't replace them completely. But what other things will they need to sort of get better at?
I think empathy is vital. I think, and when AI can have empathy, I think we're all in trouble for a lot of different reasons. But I think the human element is empathy. If you need to understand, as we were just speaking about, you need to understand the candidate, what their motivations, and make sure that they are, happy with everything that's going on. So I think empathy, needs to keep that. I just think the ability to build valuable long-term relationships, not just network, but just might with a specific person. It might just be for 6 weeks during the recruitment process, but just to be able to have that kind of deep relationship building. That's it, really. I think for me, I think the human elements sounds kind of cheesy, but those unquantifiable elements of it.
Like it. Thanks.
We all have to cut this bit. You jumped for a bit there, Jack.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry,
yeah.
I laughed. I listened to the end because Darren was trying to he knew you were at the end of the sentence, so he went, nice.
I was like, I just spilled my heart out there.
Cut out.
And he just goes, nice. I was like, terrible one.
Yeah. You cut out. But it's okay because it's recording local.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I'd say definitely on the empathy side, and very much on the nurturing element you're speaking about there, that relationship building. Because people don't want to build relationships with AI, but you still have that human relationship with a recruiter.
Yeah, and that's why I think that the interview thing is important. I know video interviews are taken off, and now AI interviews, they're getting half a good rep, half a bad rep. But just if I was running a process, you have to speak to someone. In my opinion, you have to keep that human element of understanding them, their motivations, and for the candidate sat the other side as well. It's like, how much does this person care about me? I'm speaking to Google Assistant. Yeah.
You're going to be a late adopter. Chris wrote a post about this a couple of days ago, and I think it's going to happen. I eventually think it's going to happen. I think it's just like a meeting. I think you're like a meeting. You miss it, and all of a sudden you just get some notes about it afterwards, summarising the key takeaways. I think those things are going to start occurring, but not for a while.
Yeah.
Not for a while. I think I liken to use self-driving cars. When that comes in, you're going to have a lot of people say, "I want to drive my own car," and there's others who'll be happy with it. And then I think eventually the whole thing just will be adopting.
Eventually, they stop making cars you can drive. It's not your choice.
Exactly.
It's like same with interviews. I was thinking for me, it's Stan at Scotty. Yeah, sorry. Kind of semi-convinced me on this on the conversation we had that actually standardizing process, humans are like actually we're a variable in this, a dangerous one, because we have mood swings, we don't feel well, can't make meat, and he was like, my AI can screen 20,000 people, whatever the number was, at once, simultaneously, and can ask the questions without any bias, like, of course, without bias, if there is none already in the question, of course. But if it's done well, it can mitigate some of that. The challenge, I think, with AI interviews is, and I remember speaking to a TA leader the other day, a lady that was telling me she was talking through, like, she'd been through an acquisition. She understood the founders, and she could talk about how, like, they changed the way the business worked, and how close they were to individuals. So, like, I don't think AI is going to be able to do that. Although Bill Fisher, who we interviewed yesterday or the day before yesterday, he was saying that it'll only take time for, like, things like Slack to start being able to take all that information and utilizing it in any part of the business. But still, like, I don't know how comfortable we all feel about that. So I think there's time left for humans in the interview process, 100%. And I don't know if I'm a fan of being interviewed by AI, but like we just discussed, we won't be able to drive forever.
And I think it's just like with self-driving cars, you have to have them all self-driving or non-self-driving, because that's how crashes occur, right? Probably similar with interviews where everyone will just go, cool, AI interviews now, and you can't be kind of a candidate that doesn't like it because it's tough.
So less tough, isn't it? It's more like, well, we don't have any interviews now. This will AI. Get the job here or not.
I'll see you on your first day.
You actually work for AI. There's no hiring manager.
Yeah.
In fact, you don't exist. You're AI.
Totally get philosophical.
I mean, that's a whole new podcast that I'm stupid for, by the way. Let's not get into that because I won't sleep tonight. We're coming to the end, Jack. It's been fun. We've got a couple of questions that we always finish each show on. So do you mind if we fire a couple of quick fire ones at you? First one is, what's next for JobDeck?
Yes, cool. So what's next for JobDeck? So we have partnered with IBM, not only for security and governance to make sure that our AI is where it needs to be, but also, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to make the smartest ATS on the planet. And then secondly, working with a colleague who has done talent insights his entire career, which is stuff like salary benchmarking, density, so geographies, where are the people, basically helping TA teams understand markets. Still very popular, and the output is a report. But the problem with my colleague is he takes time off and doesn't work 24/7 and stuff. Unfortunately, good for him, but like unfortunate for everyone else. We have automated him, and we have created the first talent, like, digital assistant that can access billions of data points about your market, but then summarize to you as well. So it won't just go, here are the salaries of battery engineers in California. You can go, what does this mean to me? And it can go, well, don't open your lab there because it's going to cost you more. So,
that sounds like a second podcast.
It does. I said there. He's going back for the second one.
That's like another one.
Another good demo as well.
We can run that another cracking demo. Yeah,
nice.
The final question we ask is, what other tools in the space have you been super impressed with? You got one or two that are on top of mind?
Yeah, so I love Stan and Scotty. I speak with Stan. We've had a couple of conversations and me and end up getting all philosophical and speak about where AI is going to end up. So I think what they've done, I know we're saying I don't like the interviews, but what he's done is a screening where it's like missing information. It's, deal breaker questions. It isn't, first, second and third stage interview. But I think what they're doing is immense and super scalable. So I like those guys. And I also like Bloat as well. So Bloat are the internal talent market. I don't know if you guys know.
Yeah, no, Glaze.
Yeah, they're cool. So it's basically like, for your sake, Chris, it's like a internal talent marketplace. So let's say, for example, I'm a sales exec, want to be a sales director, rather than leave. They're like, well, actually, this person could use you on a project which will upskill you. So maybe you'll be a bit closer to a sales director doing this, etc. Like an internal talent marketplace.
Externally.
No,
Internal.
it's internal. It's internal.
So you'll work for your upskill internally. You like internal mobility.
It's
internal
for
mobility, yes.
for enterprise clients. So
Nice.
career pathways.
Cool.
Yeah, build your
out.
profile and be matched to certain roles.
I feel like I should know more of these, considering I'm on a podcast.
I respect that you didn't pretend to. I respect that.
No, too stupid to do that. It's not really a question, but like, Jack, how can folks reach out to you if they want to get a demo or chat to you about JobDeck or about your experience? Like, how can folks let's get in touch?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, which Darren, I think you'll put a link right underneath this.
I will do that. Another
Come
thing
up on screen here right now, or so either on LinkedIn or drop me an email at jack@jobdeck.ai.
I'll have to put that in the show notes as well.
Okay. And that brings us to the end of this week's show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Jack. It's been great fun.
Thanks for having me.
Don't forget to check the demo as well and reach out to Jack if you're interested in knowing more about JobDeck. TA Tech, I'm signing off, guys. Cheers. Thank you very much, Jack.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.